Ma'am, please introduce yourself. Hello.
Hello, am I audible, sir?
Yes, yes. Ma'am, please introduce yourself to the class and then start your demo session.
Okay, sir. Good afternoon, students. I am SHILPA Sharma. I'm an MBA. I've cleared UGC NET and I have 2 years of industry experience in pharmaceutical company, that is Alchem Labs Limited, in quality control department.
Very good, ma'am.
Today I'm supposed to take your class, and the introductory topic that was given to me was human resource management and introduction. So shall I start?
Yes, ma'am, carry on.
Okay. See, if we look at the word human resource management, we see 3 words coming along. One is human, the other one is resource, and the third one is management. When we talk about human in terms of human resource management, we understand it in the context of labor or the workforce that is working in the organization. When we talk of human in an organization, we talk about the both of the aspects. One, when we talk about a worker or a labor or a human working individually in the organization, and two, when they're working as group in the organization. So this is about the human part of human resource management. When we talk about resource, why we say that human resource management is because you must be knowing the 4 factors of production: man, material, money, and machine. See, if you look at it carefully, you see that out of the 4 factors of production, there's only one factor of production which is called the active factor of production, and the rest of them are passive. Which is the active one? It is the man. And why we call so that man is the active factor of production? It's because it is only the man who can make the machine and the other physical assets work. So man becomes very, very important when you talk about human resource management. And management, you all know that it's managing the workforce both as individual and in team or group. So this is the definition of human resource management, or you understand it's just a slight introduction of how human resource management will go further. Now, talking about human resource management, why has this become so important over the years?
Ma'am, 8 minutes, excuse me, please.
Yes, sir.
Students, you need to switch on your camera. Students, you need to switch on your camera. Students, you need to switch on your camera. Things need not to be repeated. Yes, ma'am, carry on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. See, when we talk about human resource management, we see that the concept of human resource management has changed a long way. It has come down a long way from what it was supposed to be 50 years back and what it is right now. The liberalization, globalization, this has changed the very concept and how the human resource should be seen in an organization. Now, see, when we talk about human resource management, we treat human as the capital. Unlike the other physical assets, we treat human capital very important because we have ultimately came to understand and believe the fact that machine is not important, man behind machine is very important. That is why human capital in an organization becomes so important that sometimes it becomes the core competency of the organization, which will help the organization gain competitive advantage over the other organizations. So what is core competency? Something which cannot be shared so easily. This is again a very comprehensive topic. So as of now, you understand that when we talk about human resource management, we treat humans as the capital. Why do we treat human as capital? Because they appreciate the value. They are appreciated. You know, the rest of the physical assets, over the time, the value of them is depreciated. But it is only humans whose value becomes appreciated in the organization through the process of learning, through the process of development, through the process of planning. You can understand this, right? This is not very tough to understand. When you join an organization, you're a fresher, right? But once you have worked in an organization for 1 year or 2 years, your value appreciates. The organization has a tough time to retain you. Why? It's because you have learned. It's because you've been trained. It's because you have been developed, and your value in the market appreciates. The same goes with the entire human resource of the organization, and that is why the management of human resource becomes so utmost important in the organization. Okay. Now, let me explain this to you with one example. One definition I'll take. That definition, I think, is in itself is very, very comprehensive enough to explain you the entire concept of human resource management. We'll take the definition of Flippo. According to Flippo, he says that human resource management is a process. Fine. It's a process of planning, organizing, directing, and controlling the activities of procurement, maintenance, development, compensation, integration, and separation. And all of these help the organization, the society, and the individual to attain its objectives. Fine. This definition has to be explained in 30 minutes. This definition is very, very comprehensive. If you talk, this is the later part of human resource management, that planning, organizing, directing, and control. These are all the managerial functions of human resource management. Fine. I'll explain this to you one by one. So these functions, when we do procurement, which includes job analysis, which includes recruitment and selection, which includes placement, which includes induction, fine. We do procurement, then we develop that individual. When you're taken in an organization, you're just fresh, you're not learned, you're taken according to the qualification. But that just does not work in the organization. You have to get acquainted with the culture of the organization and what is required and expected of your qualification to be done in the organization. That is why you are trained in an organization. When training is imparted to you, your development takes place. Fine. And then the organization maintains you. The HR manager maintains you. How is this maintenance thing done? This maintenance is done by providing you good health, good safety, a harmonious workplace environment, good industrial relations, and many more. There are welfare activities also. These welfare activities include, it's a very wide topic. This welfare activities include providing your canteen facility, your crèche facilities, and all of those things. Okay. So this was about maintenance. Then you are procured, you are developed, you are maintained, and then you're provided compensation. You don't work in an organization if the compensation is not satisfactory, right? So the compensation part of an organization becomes very, very important, and the organization knows it as well. Once you are trained, once you are developed, you'll be looking forward to the compensation that commensurates your skills, commensurates your value in the market. That is why these days, these organizations have a very tough time retaining its employees. And finally, separation. What do you mean exactly when I say separation? See, you're picked up from a society, right? Even if you're picked up through various forms of recruitment, no matter if it is internal recruitment or it is external recruitment, but you're picked up from society. And then it is the societal role of an organization that they have to get you back to the society. But since most of the employees, they do not die on the job, so it becomes the duty of the HR manager to provide you with proper retirement benefits and all of those things that come along, the documentation process and everything that you return to the society. You must be knowing that you get retirement benefits and pension benefits and all of those, the gratuity thing and all of those things when you retire. So this is also one of the roles and responsibilities of human resource management, that you are returned to the society gladly. Fine. So this is called the separation part of the organization. Now, what does the definition say? In the last, that all of these functions, all of those managerial and operative functions of human resource management ultimately lead to the fulfillment of organizational objective, individual objective, and societal objective. So are these objectives different? Yes, these objectives are very different, but it is the role of human resource management in the organization to integrate these objectives in a way that you feel so motivated to work in the organization that you never for once feel that you have to just fulfill your individual activities and not the organizational activities, and vice versa. And also societal objective comes in its way. Why? Because the organization or the business flourishes in society, right? You have to give back to society, and the society expects you of something. So human resource management is a very wide and comprehensive thing. What would be the expectations of society? Tell me. Your expectations could be that you produce good quality goods, or if it's a service company, you provide good quality services. There should be a proper pricing policy. There should not be indiscriminate pricing, right? And there are many more. The other thing is that you should generate employment. This is the HR function of any organization, to also provide also provide the employment opportunities for society, to comply with it in legal framework. Fine, this is another. It's a complete part of HR. Labor legislation or labor laws, where you will come across, you will understand that how legal framework is also a very important part of human resource management. And what could be organizational objectives? What does organization expects of you? Again, it depends upon the kind of stage that you are in, that the organization is in. If it's a very new organization, initially its objective would be survival. If it is a mature organization, if it is a organization with good enough capital which can hire any resource, it will want to maximize the profit, sales maximization, production maximization. Fine. So it depends upon the philosophy and the objective of different organizations. I said that integrating individual objectives, societal objectives, and organizational objectives. What could be individual objectives? See, just imagine yourself as an employee of an organization. What would be, after passing your exams, after, if you want to join any organization, what, there would be some expectations you have from the organization, right? You would not like to have stagnation. You would want to have opportunities, and apart from compensation is of course the most important thing, but that is not the only important thing. Once you start working in the organization, you would want to work in an organization, in an environment which has healthy industrial relation, a harmony at workplace, right? And then you would want to have opportunities in the organization. Say if you join in one post and you said that you retire in the same post, will you be happy to work in that organization? No. You would want to explore yourself, your career opportunities. So you want to have career planning. You should have the opportunity to be able to career plan your career there, so that you have tremendous opportunities to grow and proliferate yourself. And sometimes what happens that you as a student or someone as a fresher does not know your own talent also. Yes, it so happens. So it is the function of the HR management of the organization. The better the organization, the better it will extract from you, right? So sometimes you yourself don't know your own capabilities. So it is the HR management of the organization that will provide you such benefits will keep you so motivated that you are willing, and not forced, you are willing to give your best to the organization. Fine. So I think this one definition of FLIPO was enough to explain you the concept, at least, of what exactly human resource management is. Okay. Now, the next thing is, what is so different or what is so peculiar about human resource management and not about the other management, as in like marketing management or production management? Tell me. It is again the same thing. It is because the human capital, they can grow. They can grow how? They can tremendously grow through training, through development, through knowledge, through skills, through acquiring your own abilities. And you know this very well, that given the same post, two people can perform differently. Two people could have completely different abilities. And this is this ability that the good human resource management of any organization would try to nurture or would try to hone. Okay. So this is what makes human resource management different from the other management. Okay. Now, say human resource management is a very big topic. I cannot explain this to you in just one class, but since I have been given this introductory class, I'll try to brief everything. And once you understand this human resource management, the concept of it, what is inside it, it will be easier. It will be just, a cakewalk through through the other chapters when you deal with those chapters in detail. Now, when we talk about this human resource management, we understand what are its scope. What are its scope? From where does, how many verticals does human resource management work in? It works in various, like when you are procured, when you are taken in an organization, there are different steps, there are different things that an HR management of the organization will perform. What are those steps? There could be recruitment. So can you just nod your head if you know what is recruitment? Can you just nod your head? Okay. So there is recruitment, there is selection, there is induction, there is placement. See, each of them is a different chapter. So I cannot explain this to you in detail, but I'll just tell you so that you can get a brief of it. So the scope is, first we talk about the procurement scope of human resource management. So procurement could be job analysis. What is job analysis? Job analysis means collecting the entire information about job. Okay. Why do we need this information about job? We need this information to design the compensation, right? Not every job in the organization contributes to the same level. Yes, you must agree with that. Not every job in the organization will contribute in a similar way, right? And this is why even if a manager works for only 8 hours or 9 hours, his salary can never match one who is a non-managerial or in a clerical post who's working for 11 hours. No, this is why we need to design compensation, because the contribution of the job that you're performing is completely different. So each job has to be analyzed. Analyze means you have to collect each and information about that job. What kind of information? Tell me. What kind of job, the kind of job that this organization has. What do you need to do those jobs? What are the roles? And say you are hired for a job. You would need this information now. What are your roles in that job? What will be your responsibilities in that job? Is there any safety hazard in that job? Right? Is there any safety? There are many jobs, like if you go to a factory, if you work in a factory, and people who are working in the gas chamber, people who are working in those areas, the safety areas in factories and mines, even in plantations. So their work profile is different than the workers than the people who are working in an office. So the compensation designed will also be different. The methods designed, the job design will also be different, right? So job analysis is very important in order to collect information about that job, to design compensation, to know if there is any safety hazard associated with that job, to know if there is any tools and techniques involved in that job. Is there any specific skill which is not required for other jobs? Fine. So this is why we need job analysis. The second one, procurement, is recruitment. You have to be recruited. The organization just doesn't recruit. Fine. There has to be a very lengthy or even short process depending upon the organization, but that recruitment is done to fulfill the need of that manpower in an organization. Fine. So recruitment could be both internal or external. Do you know about internal or external recruitment? Nod your head if you know. If you just have a brief of how recruitment works. Yeah. Okay. The recruitment process is both internal and external. When we hire, as the name suggests, if we hire people from inside the organization, that is internal recruitment. So how do we hire from inside? We can take the ex-employees, somebody who has worked in that organization, right? Somebody who has worked in the organization already, he already knows how the organization works, what are the ethics at workplace, what is the work culture at that place. So there are both internal and external recruitment. And internal recruitment could also be done through transfer. You need a manpower, say for example, Coal India Limited. See, it is the biggest coal mining company in the world, not only in India, in the world. And as of the data last year, it operates with 272,000 employees across whole India. It also has one subsidiary outside India in Africa. Okay, so there are 272,000. Can you imagine the immense manpower it is working with? So if it urgently needs, the external recruitment is a lengthy process. So if it urgently needs a manpower somewhere, it can send somebody to as in transfer from one part, say from Chhattisgarh to Maharashtra, right? So there are advantages and disadvantages of both internal and external recruitment. Talking about external recruitment, what happens? As the name suggests, when you take people from outside the organization, it is external recruitment. There are so many methods of external recruitment. Walk-in interview, yes, you're unknown to the organization, that is external recruitment. Through job portals, external recruitment, right? Through e-recruitment, fine, e-recruitment, and this trend has become so much important after this COVID crisis, e-recruitment. So there are many organizations, there are many institutions that are working outside India. Have you heard of GRA and GMAT? They do recruitment, they do a lot of recruitment through e-recruitment. Everything is online, everything from test to interview to recruitment. Other job portals through job commissions, you must have heard of IBPS, heard of it? SSC, heard of it? UPSC, heard of it? What do? They are recruitment bodies. Fine. So these are the methods of external recruitment. Now, as I said that there are pros and cons both of internal recruitment and external recruitment. So what could be the pros of internal recruitment? The pros could be you're getting fresh blood, right? You're getting fresh mind, somebody who can think out of the box, maybe not in alignment with the organization, but what he thinks could be very, very important or innovative too. After all, business is all about innovation, right? The second thing, what could be the disadvantages or the cons of external recruitment? It's a lengthy process. Fine. It's a very lengthy process. So if you need it urgently, internal recruitment is preferred. Fine. So where were we? We were at the procurement part of human resource management, where one was job analysis. Second, I explained to you was recruitment. Third is selection. Recruitment is said to be I just now explained you recruitment. Okay. Recruitment is a positive thing, positive process, and selection is a negative. Why? Because in recruitment, we keep on accumulating all the applicants that submit their application. But selection, we need to filter out those to make the most appropriate people join the organization. That is why it is often said to be a negative process. This again has to be explained in very detail. For the time being, you just understand recruitment, selection, job analysis, placement, induction. All of these are the procurement part of human resource management in the organization. Fine. Since I've been given this introductory class on human resource management, I like to stick to it only. Okay. Now, the next thing is when you talked about procurement part. Now, as I told you, when you join an organization, you're fresh, right? You are taken according to your qualification, but that qualification itself is not only enough to make you work in the organization. You have to know how the work is exactly performed. And how will you be known? By training, right? You're trained. You must have heard it that this person is under training. Let's again, this training and development is again a very comprehensive thing. You need to explain various facets to it. There are two types of training: on the job training and off the job training. When you're working and side by side you're learning in the organization, that is known as on the job training. And when you are not working, you're just being trained outside the organization or even within the organization, but you're not working, that is known as off the job training. Both have their own pros and cons, and depending upon the suitability. Fine. So there are various processes of training, like you have job rotation, you have special courses, you have in-basket analysis, you have management games, you have committee assignments, you have multiple managements. It is again a very big chapter you need to deal. For the time being, you understand that for the development part of the employee, training is very important. Then career planning is very important. Okay, career planning is what? When you're working in the organization, it becomes the duty of the organization, I mean the human resource part of the organization, to provide you with ample opportunity for the development of your career. If you are not provided, what happens if you're not provided career opportunity? You will want to run out of the organization, right? For how long would you like to stay stagnated? Fine. When I'll teach you, if I'm given a chance, I'll tell you in motivation chapter that after a certain time, only the compensation will not satisfy you. Fine. You need to have other factors at work also to make yourself happy, to keep yourself motivated. And this is what a good human resource management of a good organization does. It will keep you thoroughly motivated, so that you always are willing to give your best to the organization and not run away from the organization in order to seek for other good opportunities. Okay. So when you talk about the maintenance part, the development part of the human resource, we do this by imparting training. We do this by providing opportunities for career development. We do this by providing them opportunity for succession planning. Fine. What is succession planning? You look up to your boss and you understand that if that boss or if that senior vacates that place, if he gets promoted or gets transferred or something, if you work properly, you might reach to that place one day, right? You might reach to that place one day. This in itself is a motivation. This will always enthuse you to work better and perform better in the organization, right? So this is how, these are the methods how development part of an individual takes place in the organization. Fine. Now, after, see what happens, you have procured the employee, you have developed that employee. What next? I've told you several times, if you do not provide means to maintain those employees happily in your organization, they will sooner or later want to seek for other opportunities. Yes. So their maintenance is very important. How is that maintenance important? Say you're getting a very good compensation and your boss abuses you every day. For how long are you going to bear that? Not for too long. Not for too long. Sooner or later, you would want to run away from that organization. Fine. So later on, you will come to know that there are also mechanisms for, because these things happen in an organization. So there are grievance redressal machinery, and there, the discipline has its own importance in the books of human resource management. But for now, you understand that maintenance part of employee is very important. You have procured them, you have developed them. Now it's your turn to maintain them, to retain them. Fine. How do you maintain them? You provide them good, harmonious workplace. Like every day you should be jolly enough to come to your workplace. You should not be like, oh my God, I need to go to office. Oh my God, that is such a burden to me in the office. No, and this has a psychological impact. Believe me, this has a psychological impact. If the workplace is a happy place, you will always be willing to work. You will have more loyalty for that organization. And this loyalty, the company encashes very beautifully. So this human resource management it's very important place. After this LPG thing, the liberalization, globalization part, what happens that foreign organizations have also come into play. We deal with the international workforce also. So this retaining part has become a very major problem with human resource management these days. You came to that organization, you learned, you developed yourself, and now you want to quickly run away from the organization in search of better salary. So this maintenance part becomes a really headache for the organization, and human resource management of a good organization has to work really well on maintenance part of the organization. Fine. So you provide them good industrial relations. Industrial relations is again a very big chapter. Okay, it's a whole part of human resource management. It's a very big thing. Industrial, there are many laws, many labor laws coming in between. You know, there's a law for almost everything there. So industrial relations means you maintain a harmonious industrial relation between the employer and employee. Fine. There should be also proper grievance redressal thing. If you're not happy about something, you want to make a complaint, you want to address, you want your grievance to be addressed. So these all come in the maintenance part of the organization. Fine. So you provide them with good, healthy environment. You provide them with good health. See, have you ever come across that? Do you know this through any means that the organizations, they do health checkup for the employees working once in a year? They put on camps. Yes, they give you health benefits. They provide you with insurance. What are these? These are means to keep your only a good employee who's in sound health will be able to deliver to the organization. There's no rocket science in understanding this, right? If you're not healthy, you cannot perform, right? And human resource is so important to the organization that these days organizations, they know it so well that you have to be kept healthy, and this has a psychological trigger on you that this organization is caring for me, and therefore I need to care for the organization also, right? Now there's one question that students do have in their minds when they study it for the first time, that why do we need to care, or why do we need to care the employees so much? They can hire another one if they don't get along that employee very nicely. See, it is not that simple. Okay, it's not that simple. Once you have joined an organization, the company spends a lot on training you. Fine, the company is also, you have joined as a personnel to make you a resource for the organization. The organization has to work on you, isn't it? You're not a resource to the company when you just join. You are made resource by providing you training. You're made resource by making an all-round development of yours. Fine. So it's not simple for the organization to just hire and fire you. They have spent a lot on you. Plus, the fresh hiring will incur, again, the recruitment is also a process that incurs a lot of money. Fine, it's not that simple. This has to be dealt in recruitment thing. So that is also a process. Plus, providing, if you have worked for 1 year in an organization, giving you an increment of say 17 to 18% is cheaper than hiring another candidate and then training them for 1 complete year. The quality of work will differ. Will it differ or not? If you are trained for 2 years, say, will you be performing like a fresher? No, you'll not be performing like a fresher. You'll be a trained person. You'll be a skilled person, right? So it's not simple for an organization also to just keep on hiring and just keep on firing. That is why they have to make an effort towards retaining the employees. And that is why this maintenance part of the organization is so important. So you provide them with good industrial relations. You provide them with harmonious workplace. You provide them with better health. You provide them with safety standards. I don't know if you know about factory or not, if you know about mines or not, but there is a whole separate provision for providing. There is a whole separate chapter of safety when you study the Factories Act 1948, when you study the Mines Act 1952. Okay, and okay, just tell me, have you heard of the Bhopal gas tragedy, 1984? Any one of you? Yes, you've heard of Bhopal gas tragedy. That after that there was a chapter, the whole chapter 4A, which was included in the Factories Act in order to regulate the safety standards more. So this is the kind of hazard that every job is not that simple, or not a field job or a desk job. There are some jobs that incur heavy losses of life. Fine. People who are working in burner, people who are working near gas, people who are working in refineries, people who are working in pataka factory, right? Cracker factory. Yes. So there, the safety standards have to be taken care of. And if an organization takes good care of the safety, of course, people will want to come and join. That this organization is taking good care of us, and that is why we are more comfortable delivering to this organization rather than any other organization. Yes. So these are the maintenance factors that a human resource management does in an organization. Fine. Like providing good health standards, safety standards, good industrial relations, better workplace. Fine. You're providing benefits. Maternity benefits, have you heard of? Say a woman employee. Yeah, our constitution says that there should be no pay disparity for a man or a woman. But then there are certain conditions, say maternity, there are certain conditions when a woman cannot deliver with her full potential. And this is a natural phenomenon. Like when she is a mother, when she, excuse me, when she, sorry. So there is a separate Maternity Benefit Act, 1961. And there are so many provisions under that act that is made to maintain a woman, not to fire her when she is expecting. Fine. There are provisions, you have to work for this many days in an organization, prenatal, postnatal, everything. So this is the maintenance. If you take care of your women employees well, the women employees will be willing to deliver more to your organization. These are all the maintenance factors. And separation, I already told you. Apart from all of these things, what happens is that not always the employer is culprit. Not always the employer is culprit. It may happen that some employee, they are just not willing to deliver. They just don't want to work. They are not abiding by the rules and regulations of the organization. This way, an organization cannot allow them to work because one, you are hampering the work. Two, you're setting a very bad example for the others around you. Third, you are carrying a very bad name of the organization when you move outside the organization, right? So the organizations also have to keep some regulatory measures. Caring them and procuring them and maintaining them is fine. But still there are circumstances when the students are, when the employees are not performing as per the discipline of the organization. They're not maintaining the orderliness of the organization. There is a whole Industrial Employment Standing Orders Act, and then there are the provisions of what to do and how to do in an organization, what all you are supposed to do and what you're forbidden to. So when you do this, when you are indisciplined, you have to be treated accordingly. Fine. There is also a theory that works like it's a McGregor hot stove theory that works like that. So when you are indisciplined, what will happen? There must be some measures. There must be some measures that the organization has to take. Shouldn't it take? Yes. There must be some measures that the organization has to take to check you, to rectify you, to make you abide by the rules and regulations. So these are called the control methods of the organization, like auditing. Fine. Like auditing, like your accounting. These are the control methods. Auditing, HR audit is not just for the employees. These are also for employees. Then we have the separation thing. As I already told you that you are picked up from the society and you have to return to the society by the organization. And since you have worked throughout in the organization, you are returned to the society in a respected way in terms of retirement benefits, your other benefits, your gratuity, your provident fund, everything. So that is the separation thing. But not always retirement is one means of separation. There are terms like layoff. There are terms like retrenchment. There are terms like dismissal. There are terms like discharge. Okay. So these terms, they have different provisions. Have you heard of these terms? Have you heard of layoff? Anyone? Yes. Layoff. Okay. So.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello, ma'am. Just a minute. Hello, students.
Yes, sir.
Students, are you listening?
Yes, sir.
Why don't you answer? What is layoff? Layoff क्या है? Wait. What is layoff?
We're removing some employees from the workforce.
And the reason behind layoff is?
Reason can be
Technology.
we are not working good or we are for technological changes.
No. There is not layoff. Anyways, ठीक है. But when ma'am you're asking something, you need to respond to it.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Carry on, please.
Okay, sir. So what I was telling was that retirement is not the only means of separation from the organization. There are other things also that are done according to when it is needed, like layoff, like retrenchment, like dismissal, like discharge. Fine. See, layoff is actually the employer's inability to take work from you. Fine. It's an inability to take work from you, and there are 4 provisions according to it. Like if there is an accumulation of excess stock, fine. If there is an accumulation of excess stock, if there is a breakdown of machinery, if there is any natural calamity, okay. So these are the provisions, and also there are general provisions and special provisions that is mentioned in the Industrial Disputes Act 1947. You have to understand layoff in very detail there. Okay. Then you have retrenchment. What is retrenchment? It is when an organization has surplus employees, and then you need to be taken out of work because the employers cannot keep you. They are surplus employees. That is known as retrenchment. Fine. This is often known as the innocent action of the employer. Retrenchment is often known as the innocent action of employer. Then you have discharge and dismissal. These depend upon the major or the minor misconduct that you do in the organization. What all can be given to you? Can there be forfeiture of gratuity? Can there be forfeiture of other benefits, depending upon the kind of misconduct that you do? Fine. So this was all about the scope to which the purview of entire HRM. Fine. Human resource management has this much of scope. It is very wide, and it is very comprehensive. Okay. So this was like first the procurement part, then you have the development part, then you have the maintenance part, and then you have the control part, the separation part, talking about, and then you have there are other emerging activities also in HR these days, which are coming so much in vogue, like the HR auditing thing, the HRIS. It's a software that is the organizations have used. These are so recent that even the very big organizations, they have just recently started to use it. That the resources that can be hired upon an organization also depends upon the kind of wealth that this organization has, the kind of capital that the organization has. Okay. Now this was, let's talk about the nature of HRM. Okay. What is the nature of HRM, and why is this HRM? You need to understand what is its nature. What does HRM all do? The function is a different thing. We'll deal about function separately. But do you think that an organization, when hires an employee, they just hire it for once and then it's all is done? Is it so? No. It's a continuous process. Okay. Human resource management is a continuous process. The managers who are made in the organization, they are not made overnight. They are trained from time to time. They are trained from time to time. Their skills, their knowledge, their development is enhanced, and this is done till retirement. For an organization, this is done till retirement. Why? Because you must know that these days, after the LPG era, the business organizations, they operate in an extremely dynamic environment. What do you mean by dynamic environment?
Based on position.
See, the business complexities will change. Business complexities will change. Say, for example, COVID, take the example of COVID. The hospitality sector completely came down. Did it come down or not? The education sector has completely transformed itself. People have gone from offline classes to online classes. But what if an organization, see, this COVID thing has persisted for almost 2 years now, and there is no, no idea when the classes are going to resume, when the situation is going to resume to normalcy, right? What if an organization, this organization, in this institution where you are studying, this has made the provisions of online classes, right? The admissions also will be happening, that will be happening in this session. Maybe a lot of things will be done online, right? What if, and tell me, what if an institution, it just does not make provisions for online classes? It has no resources, or it does not dive, or it does not, come up with this innovative idea of making everything online and providing facilities to them. What will happen? They will lag behind. Yes, they will lag behind. This is called dynamism. This dynamism could come in any which way. This could come, there are internal factors of the organization, there are external factors. See, what if a government makes a ban on or provides you subsidy or increases the tax on what your organization is producing? This will change the algorithm within the organization, no? Will it change or not? Or will the things will go as smooth as it was functioning earlier? No. So you have to, in order to just keep yourself persisting in the organization, and not just persisting, keep yourself competent in the organization, to keep yourself ahead of the competitors in the organization, you have to make that innovation a part of you also. Yes, you have to make yourself also in alignment with what's happening outside the organization. Otherwise, your organization is sure going to lag behind. There are so many big companies that shut down because it failed to, or it refused to modernize itself. So this is what I'm telling you, that organizations, they work in a very, very dynamic environment. And once they work in, and since they work in a dynamic environment, there is tremendous possibility that you need to work on the methods. You need to keep revising the methods and the procedures, how you're performing the work. Okay, so this is a continuous process. Human resource management is a continuous process. And now tell me that, say your organization wants to diversify, you understand, make
Yes,
something different than the product line that you're already manufacturing or producing. Diversifying yourself. So like ITC initially was just a cigarette factory, but it diversified into almost every FMCG product that you see today in your kitchen, right? So say your organization wants to diversify itself. So when you're diversifying yourself, you are getting into a new venture of the organization. Will the same people be enough to work in a new venture also?
No, ma'am.
No.
Ma'am.
Why? Because maybe you need different skill sets, right? Because maybe if you are getting a new software in the organization, can the old computer operator or the old IT department work as it was working earlier? No,
ma'am.
say your organization has infused artificial intelligence into HR part. You will need more trained, more skilled people to make that system work and establish itself in the organization. Yes or no? This is what I was talking, that it is, since business is working in a dynamic environment and there is a cutthroat competition, you always need to modernize and revise yourself. And that is why the human resource management is a very continuous process, not that you're hired and it is done. Okay, then one more nature of human resource management could be, it is pervasive. What do you mean by pervasive? That it gets down, it percolates through every strata of the organization. Okay, हर डिपार्टमेंट में लोग तो काम करते ही हैं, हर डिपार्टमेंट में लोग काम करते हैं. अगर ये प्रोडक्शन हो तो भी, ये मार्केटिंग हो तो भी, ये आईटी हो तो भी, ह्यूमन रिसोर्स मैनेजमेंट हो तो भी, ऑपरेशंस हो तो भी, राइट? And every manager of their department, respective department, they want people. You know, the HR manager, they hire according to the kind of people and the number of people that is needed in a particular organization. Okay, so every organization needs people. Every organization, every department needs people, which is communicated to the HR department. So it managing of people at workplace is important in every section. What if the production people, have you ever been to any factory for some visit or something? Tell me, any one of you? No. Okay, doesn't matter. There, you know, there are line managers. Okay, there are staff managers. So each of them, they work according to the roles and responsibilities assigned to them. And the work is done till here, till 8 o'clock, and then the shift will be taken over by someone else. So if there is irregularity or any kind of disharmony there, and there is lack of management of human resource there, it will lead to disaster. It is nothing less than disaster there. Okay, so that is why this human resource management process, it pervades through all the strata of the or all the departments of the organization. तो क्या क्या नेचर हुआ ह्यूमन रिसोर्स मैनेजमेंट का? एक तो ये कंटिन्यूअस प्रोसेस है, ठीक है, हमेशा होता रहेगा, आपसे जब तक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन चलेगी आपको ये करना होगा. दूसरा, this is pervasive, it percolates down to every department of the organization. Third, you can say that you know, human resource management is all about employee benefit. What is the meaning of employee benefit? I told you in the beginning of the class that when you join an organization, sometimes it so happens that you also do not know your full potential, your full capacity, but an HR manager might know this. So what will happen, that they will keep you thoroughly motivated so that you are willing to give your 100% to the organization. Fine. So you are willing to give your 100% to the organization. Right? Also, what happens is that until and unless, what happens if you are thoroughly motivated, who will be ultimately benefited by that? The organization, right? So this will help you in achieving your individual goals also, and you will work towards achieving the organization goal also. A good HR manager of any organization will make sure that your personal objectives of life, of career, and the organizational objectives are in total alignment with each other. They are integrated. Fine. They are seamless. So this is what a good HR manager works in an organization. Fine. So this is what I was talking about, this that HRM का जितना जो nature है, ये HRM का nature है. Scope, I told you all of those scopes. Now, functions of HR management. Let's talk about the functions of HR management. Talking about the functions of HR management, you need to understand that broadly it is categorized into two different categories. Okay, the first is the managerial functions and the other one is the operative functions. Managerial functions, you're a student of management, you must be knowing the 5 functions of management, right? Can somebody tell me the 5 functions of management?
Planning, organizing, controlling.
Tell me. Yes. Planning.
Organizing.
Controlling, directing.
Staffing.
Staffing. Okay. Planning, organizing, staffing, directing, and controlling. Fine. So when we talk about human resource management function, we broadly, I already told you, we categorize into 2 broad categories. One is the managerial functions. Managerial functions you all just mentioned. It's planning, right? It's organizing, it is directing, and it is 4 functions. Staffing is not included here. Planning, organizing, directing, and controlling. Right? When you talk about the operative functions of human resource management, these operative functions are divided into broadly 6 categories. Fine. See, when you appear for the exams, I'll tell you that human resource management is one chapter which is so important. You need to be thorough with this chapter. That it's because this is the very, very foundation of the entire HR that you're going to study. Once you're done with these things, once you do not get confused with what functions are in which category, you will be able to solve the questions, not just write subjective, but objective answers also. And this is very important for any competitive exam. So talking about the objective part or the operative part of the human resource management, they are divided into 6 categories mainly. Okay, they could be, I already told you their scope, and this is included in the function also. How? The procurement, maintenance, the development, compensation, integration, and emerging activities. Right? Emerging one is the very, very new thing. Right? Now let's start with planning. Planning function of human resource management. Tell me what crosses your mind when you say that planning is required in human resource management. What do you exactly think? This is just a vague idea. I don't want any detailing of it. But what crosses your mind when you say that you have to do planning in human resource management? Anyone? Just tell me whatever comes to your mind, just tell me.
That what kind of employees we want to hire,
Very good. And
and how we will then achieve our goal using the human resource we have.
okay. And
That's all.
okay. Okay. Yes. This what you said is also one of the points. So when we talk about the planning function of human resource management, what happens that you need to plan. It is often said about management. आपने ये बात सुनी है कि the manager who fails to plan plans to fail. Okay, this is a very this is often said and repeated in management that a manager who fails to plan, जो लोग प्लान नहीं करते हैं कि आगे कैसा चलना है, कैसे क्या करना है, हमारे पास मैन पावर की शॉर्टेज कब होगी, क्या होगी, किसको ट्रेनिंग देनी है, नहीं देनी है, इस पर्टिकुलर एम्प्लॉय को ट्रेनिंग देनी है या किसी और को देनी है, आप सबको ट्रेनिंग नहीं दे सकते हैं. Say I pick up just one person from say production department and I start teaching them C++ and Java, and is it not a waste of time for the organization? You for making them trained, you will pick some IT person to understand that C++ and Java. For all this does not come in itself. You have to plan. Okay, the organizations, they have to plan whom to train, what to train, where to train, by whom to train, you know, how to train on the job or off the job, what is the resources, how much to spend. Planning is a very, very long and comprehensive and a never ending process in human resource management or the entire management. Fine. So talking specifically about human resource management, we have that you plan. Okay, you plan to say, I want this number of employees in my organization. You want different skill sets for those organizations. One, you want to hire somebody from a executive rank. Then you want to hire somebody from a non-executive rank. Then you want to hire somebody from a very senior rank. You want to have some assistant general manager rank. Then you need to have the idea of it, right? You need to plan for it. You cannot just hire overnight, or you cannot just make this announcement overnight. Planning is such that organizations को अपनी redundancies के लिए भी तैयार रहना पड़ता है. Redundancies मतलब all of a sudden you need to have the requirement of manpower. किसी employee की death हो गई, उसकी जगह खाली हुई, उसकी जगह खाली होगी. अब जब तक वो जगह भरेगी नहीं, तब तक क्या वो काम हैम्पर होगा ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में? नहीं होगा ना. इसलिए प्लानिंग की जरूरत होती है. You need to plan accordingly that at any given point of time, the organization does not suffer. The organization will make sure that the organization does not suffer. Fine. So we plan. Then forecasting is the basis of planning. What is planning? Planning is, what is planning? You know, how do you just define planning? Planning, we all know, we just use it once at least every day. But what is planning? Future course of action. Planning is something that is not known to you, but it is the future course of action that you want to take. फ्यूचर में कुछ होने वाला है, फ्यूचर में आप कुछ करने वाले हैं, फ्यूचर में आपको किसी चीज की जरूरत हो जाए, इस चीज के लिए हम प्लान करते हैं. एंड व्हेन वी प्लान, दिस प्लानिंग कि हमें फ्यूचर में किसकी जरूरत पड़ जाएगी, इट डिपेंड्स ऑन व्हाट ऑल. इट डिपेंड्स अपॉन आपका पास्ट का कोई एक्सपीरियंस रहा हो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का. से आपने किसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में किसी को हायर किया एंड देन दे लेफ्ट and then the organization is vacant. It usually happens with private companies, right? Less people are willing to leave government organizations, but you know, government organizations, because like PSUs, these are not completely government organizations, these are government of India undertaking, so they are also profit making organization. So you need to have a very good plan inside the organization to be able to keep making the profit, fine? You cannot falter. So this planning is based upon the future. This planning is something which is the future course of action, and this could be based on your past experience, something that you have experienced on the past, your present requirement, fine? You're presently requiring something, and because you're not able to fulfill or something like that, you want to plan it for future also. Or your past requirement, your past experiences, your present requirement, or your future expectations. What would be those future expectations? Tell me. If you remember, I just now explained. Say a company is working on the organizations, business firms, they are working in an extremely dynamic environment. Say a company becomes a mature organization. What do you mean when I say mature organization? That they have enough capital to hire huge resources, both in terms of capital and in terms of people. Say an organization wants to dig into some new venture. So when it wants to dig into some new, say like this Coal India Limited company, we have so much in vogue about reducing our dependence on coal, petroleum, working towards making a cleaner environment. You read in newspaper and everything, the business firms are also required to contribute hugely to this, right? So when you say this Coal India Limited has dig into a venture with Neyveli Lignite Corporation to make solar power plants, right? Solar chips. So do you think that? Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can we conclude this in 5 to 6 minutes?
Yes, sir. Sure. Yes, sir. So as I was telling you that this human resource management में planning becomes very important. Say for why planning? If you have future expectations, say a company called Coal India Limited has an organization digged into a joint venture with Neyveli Lignite Corporation for making solar panels. Do you think the same skill set of the organization, the same manpower, without training, without development, would be able to do that? No. If that organization wants to dig into that, it will plan people, it will take skill sets accordingly. That is why I said that human resource management is a continuous process, it's a comprehensive process, and as it has been accepted widely in the organization, more so after this LPG era, that machine is not important, man behind machine is important. And this human capital is something which cannot be copied. Even if the entire system of an organization is copied, it is the man who is working on the system. And if that cannot be copied, the organizations will always have the organizations that have good human capital will always have superiority over the other organizations. With this, I conclude my introduction on HRM. Thank you, sir. Thank you, students.
Thank you,
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.